I first did Scrum as a product developer in a very small company. It was easy to know our product vision as it evolved and our priorities as they emerged. Our product owner, an entrepreneur, was right there sharing our business objectives. He prioritized one product backlog and we refined it together. Customer interaction helped us know the details of what to do. It also helped that we were a cross-functional team, including a UI design expert. As we grew into a self-managing team, our product owner learned to delegate more and more to us. When I started working with larger organizations trying to do Scrum, I wanted their teams to be productive. Scrum worked so well for me in a small company, why not just copy-paste the same pattern into a larger organization? Thinking only about team productivity, in those days it seemed to make sense for each team to have its own person trying to act as product owner. But unlike my product owner, none of these people had the authority to make major business decisions about the whole product. The organization expected them to focus on their team's delivery. I'll call this common deviation from Scrum a team output owner, because that's what the organizations I've seen are actually expecting from them. With respect, when I say team output owner, please consider that it may apply to you or others that you currently call product owner. Without authority to prioritize the whole product backlog, each team output owner was in charge of a team backlog, which for good reasons is not a Scrum artifact. Those teams initially seemed productive at stuff, and there was kind of an illusion of improved agility. They improved their internal collaboration within teams, but not between teams. As a naive Agile coach, I didn't know what to do except a pattern I'd heard of called Scrum of Scrums. That often devolved into a traditional project manager status meeting. Real Scrum teams try to develop shippable products every sprint so we can more quickly learn what our end users really need. Teams in large organizations sometimes only make components that are not end-to-end customer-centric features. Focusing on the internal objectives of middle managers instead of broader business objectives can cause teams to try to increase team output, sometimes measured as velocity. What will happen later when it turns out the components made by different teams don't fit together? People sometimes think teams should focus on increasing their output. It's easy to get distracted by measurable things like velocity, but in the big picture, focusing on that can increase integration problems and actually delay our ability to get a customer response. If our work has to be integrated with other stuff to get shippable features, it can take longer to get a real customer reaction, learn from it, and adjust our direction. More focus on internal objectives from internal organizational layers means less focus on business objectives and the whole product view. Longer end-to-end cycle times with the customer reduce agility. Another weird thing about many large organizations is that development teams often don't talk to customers and end users. Developers start to see internal go-betweens as their main connection to the customers or even the other development teams. Trying to satisfy internal go-betweens isn't nearly as fun or effective as talking to real customers using our product. A real product owner can make major business decisions and evolve the product vision as we learn more. The customer-centric product backlog describes problems, not tasks, and the development team can do the high-order work of devising solutions. They don't only code the specifications. As a cross-functional team, they should bring or learn all the necessary skills to do high-order work. Some of those skills include analysis, architecture, design, testing, integration, coding, deployment, user experience, and they learn the business domain. Scrum combines cross-functionality with the removal of role distinctions. Eliminating roles puts process ownership in the team's hands. Some people think Scrum is about adding stuff like burn-down charts, Fibonacci numbers, velocity. Those added things might sometimes be useful, but they aren't part of Scrum. The main benefits of Scrum are from eliminating processes and roles. When the product owner has made a major business decision, he or she can change the product backlog to reflect this. There's no structural change to the organization, and the team is already in the habit of taking on high-order problems and learning new things. A team in a large organization runs the risk of becoming over-specialized in one area of the code. And by the way, other teams can't understand their code either. Sometimes their skills will be out of date and they won't know that there are other useful methods and techniques. The team output owner will try to order the local backlog to deliver the most value, will have the illusion that Scrum is working. Teams can also fall into thinking this is optimal, maybe from being too focused on output or maybe too comfortable being told exactly what to do. But the benefit to customers is less than it should be because there's more important work to do hidden in other backlogs that our team isn't learning about. Our team's top item is less important than the work other teams don't even have time to start. Keeping separate team backlogs, separate lists, obscures this problem. Odds are only a few teams are doing the most valuable work. Our impact on the customers will be limited. And changing directions, the whole point of agility, will be difficult with this kind of organization. Team output owners are stuck in the middle. They are intermediaries without the authority to make major business decisions. Sometimes they're held accountable for things they can't actually control. They risk becoming requirements engineers or business analysts or project managers. They might try to write perfect user stories as detailed requirements, then clarify them when they aren't perfect. They might coordinate the team's work with the work of other teams, track dependencies, administrative work, status reporting, or push the team for more output. In some cases, this person's under pressure from elsewhere within the organization, not really able to act as an entrepreneur. I respect the practitioners who feel that one person per team playing this role is appropriate for their situation. They get a lot done having someone in the room who can give immediate feedback and answer requirements questions on the spot. Of course, we all want that. I have the impression that the places this works already have the kind of social environment that minimizes power differences and people share responsibility naturally, just as a role-free team is required to do. But organizations that ask for my help are usually starting with hierarchical habits. For them, status differences linked to roles are very real, and I'm not going to tell them to pretend all roles are equal, but one role is more equal than others. To reduce the risk of adding unnecessary hierarchy, I like to emphasize the reason Scrum has only 3 roles and the power of role-free team self-organization when the Scrum Master and management create the environment that allows it. Why would we be afraid of this person joining without any special role designation separating them from the others? Then the team could figure out for themselves who would do what in each situation instead of being constrained by a process imposed from outside. Team self-management happens without roles. What's scary about that? Please write to me what bad things you imagine would happen, and I'll make a follow-up video about those concerns. If my company was trying to develop a product with these people, and our long-term survival depended on learning to focus on the most important things, I'd consider keeping the most important problems in one real product backlog and asking product developers to focus on that instead of what's been easiest for them in the past. Of course, teams won't become interchangeable. That's something they can work out with each other as they decide for themselves which teams will do which product backlog items each sprint. To help foster a whole product view, I would ask the Scrum Masters to help remove the barriers between teams and to teach the product developers that collaborating across team boundaries is now a product developer responsibility. I'd also want to remove barriers preventing developers from getting detailed clarification from customers so we don't need to spoon-feed them anymore. In fact, now the developers will help manage the product backlog. It could take years before all this works the way I'm describing, but it's been done before. Our product backlog should constantly change, and we'll need someone with real authority and vision to maximize the value of our development work by making the final call on the order of those items. We don't need to invent a new name for our ultimate source of priorities, because it's not really a new role. Let's call this person product owner.